Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's third and final video. We're going to have a look at bold weather. There's still 14 days for today's final video, day 10, takes to the 15th of July, and we'll be able to extend out beyond that with extended CFS ensembles. Very much around a couple of weeks. We'll have a look at the CFS V2 at the end of the video for August, and I shall get on with that for you in a moment. Just say that the first video releases our 6 AM UK weather forecast, and we've also released Jeremy Friday. Check out those two vids if you'd like to do that. Like, share, and subscribe on all of today's videos and content. And thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. But guys, thank you so much, everyone. Right, going to start off in the Gulf of Mexico, actually. Well, just about Caribbean, but almost to the Gulf of Mexico with Hurricane Beryl, which has now become a Category 2 hurricane, giving maximum sustained winds of 100 miles per hour. Clicking on Beryl and going here, we can see that Beryl will be weakening further quite rapidly to become a tropical storm, and then we'll be moving out into the Gulf of Mexico as a tropical storm before powering up again to become a hurricane off the coast of Mexico and Texas, and moving into Texas as a hurricane and then weakening back to a tropical storm and a tropical depression. If we go to discussion, we can see that Beryl will be, well, currently Category 2 hurricane, max sustained winds of 110 miles per hour, which is still very ferocious storm. But in 12 hours has weakened down to a tropical storm. Then powers back up to a Category 1 hurricane. I'm sorry, everybody, by the end of weekend, as Beryl moves onto the coast of Mexico and Texas. And then inland through Texas will weaken down to a tropical storm and then to a tropical depression. So still packing a punch, Hurricane Beryl, not as severe as we saw when she hit Jamaica a couple of days ago, but nevertheless still packing a real punch at the moment and will still be a big player in that part of the world over the coming days. Coming back to home, sectioning temperatures tick back down again, gone back down to 14 degrees, 14.0, 2 degrees below 61 to 1990 average. That is provisional to yesterday, to the 4th of July. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles. The next couple of weeks, when it leads today, red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Leeds. We're starting off below average with the upper air temperatures at the moment, staying that way through the weekend to start of next week. Then a little bit of a recovery in the upper air temperature taking place through the early part of next week, but generally just hovering very close to the long-term average. There's no sign of any particularly dramatic warm-up coming up till, maybe towards the end. We do see a few hot outliers there, 1 or 2 getting up to 15 degrees at 850 HPA. They will just bring like standard hot weather. There's no sign at the moment of any sort of excessive heat going up to 20 or 25 degrees at 850 HPA. No sort of outlier or straggler members doing that. No, it looks like we may at the moment be avoiding the heat spikes that we've got used to over recent summers. But that said, it's still early days. It's only early July. We've got the rest of July and, certainly the first half of August to go anyway. So there is still time for a dramatic push of extreme heat from the south. But at the moment, we don't see much evidence of that within the GFS ensembles. And also looks quite unsettled over the next week as well. So some quite large precipitation spikes come anytime about now onwards, through towards the end of next week, actually. Maybe a bit of a dry trend around the middle part of July, and then possibly a little bit more unsettled into the second half of the month. But of course, that's a long way off and it's extended range, therefore unreliable. Temperature anomalies from the 5th to the 13th of July are below average, and precipitation anomalies from the 5th to the 13th of July generally wetter than normal, and particularly so for England and Wales. Latest wind map from nullschool.net shows we've got a little area of low pressure just to the southwest on a waving weather front, and that could bring some very wet weather in through the course, or will bring some very wet weather in through the course of late this afternoon and through this evening. That again particularly affects England and Wales. Right, let's start going through chart data then. This latest UK Met Euro is looking for midnight on Monday. Low pressure southwest approaches that low, moving in from Monday through to Tuesday. Will bring quite a bit of heavy rain with it through the early part of next week. Will lift the temperature a bit as well, though winds will go more towards a southerly direction, so that low will bring some slightly warmer air, but will be unsettled. Into the middle and second half next week, then a ridge beginning to build up over is another low threatening down to the southwest. Icon again shows low pressure coming up from the southwest through Tuesday to Wednesday in particular, bring quite a lot of heavy rain in with it. Into second half of next week, as a little transient ridge builds from the west, turning things slightly drier there, and maybe a bit warmer as well. That ridge extending through from the Azores high. It looks a little bit flimsy, I have to say, so how long it would last with this area of low pressure developing in the North Atlantic remains to be seen. This have a KMA is looking once more all much of a muchness. Should be early part of next week with that low coming up from the southwest. Once that clears through, a ridge starts to build from the Azores high. Just about develops into an area of high pressure. It is very, very weak high pressure, but just about develops into an area of high pressure there. We end up by the 17th of July with a ridge from the Azores and low pressure in the Atlantic. This is how the GFS midnight run looks. Once more, that low pressure comes up from the southwest through Tuesday into Wednesday. Brings some quite heavy rain with it. And then high pressure ridging from the Atlantic into northern Europe through the second half of next week. Should settle things down for a while, but looking very flimsy. And by days 9-10, low pressure is actually coming back in from the Atlantic again. However, we do eventually get there. So as we go into a very extended range with the GFS midnight run, we do actually start to build up quite an impressive area of high pressure. So that's how I look by the end of it. It's a long way out, over 2 weeks away, but a big area of high pressure beginning to take over, or taking over, brings a lot of dry and potentially much warmer weather. So significant change by the third week of July there. GFS midnight run. GFS V2 is again showing low pressure southwest through Wednesday to Thursday. Low pressure Tuesday to Wednesday. Low pressure coming up from the southwest. That looks a little bit thundery as well, I have to say. So not only bringing threat of heavy rain, possibly a bit of thunder with that as well. Once that gets out of the way, the second half next week starts to turn a bit dry for a couple of days. But again, it's not long for low pressure sort of starts zipping through by about 8, 9, by around days 8, 9, 10. But ridges and the highs looking really quite weak this summer, aren't they? Having said that, we do eventually try and pull off some higher pressure again around the 20th of July. Look at a little bit of a ridge trying to get going, but once more that is flattened off by this area of low pressure. So the 6 weaker with any high pressure attempt compared to the midnight run. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share and subscribe, and encourage everyone for doing that. Drop a comment, let us know what you think about this and all of our videos and content. Don't forget to tell your friends about Gav's Weathers. So much everyone for doing that. GM once again shows low pressure southwest on Monday, and then that low pressure comes meandering in through Tuesday to Wednesday. Will bring wet weather in with it. But GM actually gets that low pressure sort of meandering around through to the second half of next week, actually. And then we go into like a flat zonal pattern, westerly pattern with high pressure south, low pressure to the north. And you know, a flat westerly flow. That would be a little bit drier and warmer. South still a bit unsettled in the north. And then finally the ECM looks like this, with low pressure moving up from the southwest from Tuesday into Wednesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday should turn quite wet with that area of low. Then we keep a trough over the northwest Europe through the second half of next week. We try to build up a ridge from the Azores high, but doesn't really come to much. We go into a flat westerly zonal flow again by around days 9 and 10. This is a precipitation forecast based on the ECM run from TibetShow.com. So this is the wet weather we've got coming up through the course of this evening and tonight across England and Wales. Moving to very showery conditions through tomorrow. Heading on into the remainder of the weekend, well, further heavy showers on Sunday A little bit drier on Monday, but by Tuesday and Wednesday, low pressure is coming up from south, bringing potentially quite a bit of heavy rain, maybe some thunder with it as well. And then further showers, if not longer spells of rain, never too far away. In the second half week, a couple of drier days by next weekend, but by day 10, wet weather coming back to the north. This should be up on the table within the ECM ensembles today. For day 10 gets us to the 15th of July from the Icelandic Met-Office. 51 out of 51 members of the ECM ensembles, all of them have a ridge sitting up to the north. Oh no, that's wrong. Sorry about that, everybody. Well, that was a bit strange. Right, let's do that again. That's from 2020. What are you doing, Gav? No, this looks better. This is the option. Forget that happened. This is the option on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10. Just Gav being Gav. Gets us to the 15th of July. 51 out of 51 members of the ECM ensembles trying to build up a ridge to be Azores high, but quite a low pressure in the Atlantic threatened to flatten that up, especially so for the north. And then in 2 weeks' time, this is why you tune in, mate, because you never know what's going to happen. It's not only the live streams that you don't know when it's all going to fall apart. It can be the Gav's videos as well. It's what you're all tuning in for. I know it is. Then in 3 weeks' time, these are the options on the table. Gets us to the 20th of July. 19 members of the East ensembles with low pressure to the northeast, high pressure to the southwest. That keeps us rather flat and westerly. But 17 with a ridge building from the Azores up towards Scandinavia should settle things down. And winds will be in from the east, northeast of that. And then 15 with a nice big area of high pressure right over top of the coast. That will be the warmest and driest of the option. But this one's not bad either. So if you put the 15 here together with a 17 there, it does look as though the trend is much more towards higher pressure for the third week of July. As I said on JMA Friday, which also shows a similar trend, we may be seeing July playing out in a very, very similar fashion to June, with like a cool and rather unsettled first week to 10 days, then a gradual improvement, drier, warmer weather by the third week of the month, possibly fewer hotter days, and then maybe back to, although, you know, this is beyond the 10 to 14 day time frame, but then maybe back to something a bit cooler and more unsettled during the last week of the month. It could be that July going to play out very similar to June, but we shall see. Right, finally, CFS V2 for August. Now, this is related to 700 millibar height anomaly idea. Remember, these charts change daily. So we see low pressure to the north, high pressure to the south, to southwest, and winds coming in from a westerly direction from off the Atlantic. The temperature anomaly is about average, a little bit above in the south, not particularly big deviation, and there's not really a strong signal for precipitation. And also rather westerly August, I have to say, so it won't be overly hot, but again, there will be some pleasant weather, and maybe, quite a dryish month would be possible there too. We'll see. It's all a long way off. If you enjoyed the video, please do like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much, everyone, for doing that. Drop a comment. Let us know what you think about this and all of our videos and content. Don't forget to tell your friends about Gav's Weathers. Get them to subscribe too. And we thank you so much, everyone, for doing that. I'll just tell what's happening on the channel over the weekend. Tomorrow, we're going to have a 6 a.m. UK weather forecast. There will be the weekend forecast, EC42 day and 10 to 14 day 2. Might include a little bit of CT Saturday with that. And then on Sunday, we'll have the 6 a.m. UK weather forecast. Got the latest autumn update. I'm going to try and do Gav's Weather's sunny roundup, as it's been so long since we did a sunny roundup. And we'll be live at 6 p.m. We'll live stream our 10 to 14 dayer. And we will also include, because it's sunny live stream, some long range in that as well. So sunny live streams return from this weekend. How exciting. You enjoy the rest of your Friday, folks. I'll see you over the weekend, either for one of the uploads or for the live on Sunday. But for this one, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.